Hello, I would like to welcome everyone to my webinar, Event Planning in the New Normal. So thank you so much for being here with me, where I'm talking about how are we going to create our events this year, right? This is super important to talk about that now. Be ready, get yourself, your company, your attendees ready, and of course, your event team ready. So let's get started. My name is Edyta Satchel. I'm the travel industry executive, and I've been working in the travel industry for over 20 years. You name it, I've done it. So I really speak the language of the travel industry, the language of events, the language of travel agents, the language of travel management companies, and of course, travel suppliers. I'm also a certified integrative nutrition health coach. I'm certified in oncology aesthetics, which means I can support cancer survivors. I'm also a keynote speaker, coach, consultant, and I support different organizations in their efforts to having happy, healthy, productive employees. It's all about wellness. And also I support organizations in travel wellness efforts, right? It's all about how to feel and be well when you are traveling. The thing is that I had an opportunity, I'm super proud to be on TV quite a few times, and I continue to be and talk about wellness, talk about travel wellness, talk about health. And it's very, very important that we understand how to get ready, what to do now. You see a lot of TV programs, channels, TVs come to me and they ask for help, ask for insight, feedback, information. I'm also heavily, or I don't say heavily, but I'm also published quite a lot in different type of magazines, travel related, health, wellness, beauty related. And you can see some of those logos, just a few of them. Of course, there is way more. But what I want to say is that the travel and wellness topics are more and more popular and are more and more important to a lot of people. And like last year, no one wanted to hear about travel. This year, everybody wants to hear about travel. And that's why there is so much interest from the news stations to talk about that. So it's really important that we also start and continue the discussion. All right, so what are we covering today? We will be talking about the psychology behind travel plus life event anxiety. We'll talk about key strategies to put your attendees at ease without blowing the budget. What does it mean? What can we do to support our employees and our attendees? It's all about, we will be talking about the attracting ideal attendees. And it's all about talking about wellness and including this information in your communication. So we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about the tools, resources, things that you should have to be able to keep your attendees informed, energized, and it's all about the before, the during, and after your event. We keep to forget that many times we just get ready, we organize, we prepare, we educate, and then we are present, and all of this is before, and then we are present. We are present at the event, but then we forget about what's happening with our attendees after the event, which is also important to remember and keep in mind when you are preparing to that. And I want you always to keep that in mind and think about that as well. All right, so let's take a step back. Let's think about what's happening, now versus what was happening before. So before, we could focus on the content and sessions, right? A lot of event planners, a lot of people were just simply thinking about, okay, what's the agenda? What are we doing, talking about? And it took us a lot of time to come up with that agenda. Many times, very often, we were already talking about the agenda right after that, let's say, annual event was over, and then we started the next one, already discussions about what should we do differently, what should we talk about next year, what people want to hear from us, right? So I'm sure that sounds very familiar. What else did we do in the past? Logistics and planning were by the book. There were no surprises. There was nothing different. There was nothing unexpected. So you were able to see and just follow the rules. Many people just replicated what they've done the year before. The vendors, suppliers, how would you call the speakers? They knew what to do. The rules were the same. There was nothing different. You felt confident. You knew that there won't be, a lot of surprises. Of course, there is always something, right, that comes up at the 11th hour, but there were no major surprises, no mystery. All of this was clear, and you know more or less how many people will attend, you know who will support you, you know which vendors will sign up and help you with the sponsorship opportunities. And you knew exactly how to message and market and how to talk to your attendees. Is it the same? Is it the same for this year, for those events now that we are working organizing now? Well, I mean, there is still a lot of unknown, right? A lot of people are hesitant to do that. So 90% of time, we are now focusing in our messaging and things on, is it safe? A lot of people are still asking the question, is it safe to travel? Is it safe to attend? Is it safe to stay in a hotel? Is it safe to go to that convention center? Is it safe? So if people are asking about it, is it safe? That's something definitely we need to include in our messaging. And also, a lot of people will be asking, what if, right? I mean, you should be asking the question, what if? You need to be ready for all the circumstances, things that may happen, or as many as possible. It's impossible to predict everything, of course. Vendors, suppliers are as nervous as you are. You are nervous because you need to think and worry about having all the attendees in your room, but also having all the vendors and suppliers also signing up, supporting you with the sponsorship money, right? And you need to help the suppliers to do that. We are analyzing. We are in decision many times. We are in our clients, our suppliers, our attendees are in decision, and many times we are just also missing the deadlines or worrying and doing things which we should not be doing too much. Many times we are just wondering how is it going to, what is it going to look like, what to expect, the messaging that we have. Sometimes it's tricky. Like you thought you were unified with your team, and your employees or the company employees who are also attending the conference. You were unified when it comes to messaging. This is not always the case, because one thing we say and then there's a different thing and way that people actually feel. And sometimes the feeling is, it's not, I don't want to say not the right one, but the feeling is overcoming and overriding, let's say, the messaging that we should be actually delivering. And when I think about it, the cure for all of this is to clearly state each and every precaution and a piece of training or education you have done or taken so far to prepare yourself, to prepare your employees, to prepare your attendees. And the credentials, and even credentials that your credentials, my credentials, and as an expert in the industry, in helping organizations to prepare when it comes to health, wellness, events, travel wellness, and other things, are key, really very important to helping others feel that you are working in the best way that you can to ease fear, to ease frustration, and of course to plan your event with the best knowledge and resources you have and you can have. So it's all about that, the credentials that you guys have, credentials that I have, again, should you decide in future to work with me, but those are important factors in messaging and other things that you need to do. All right, I want to take a minute and talk about wellness, because like I said, I've been on TV quite a lot, and I continue to be, sometimes just twice a week. And And I talk about wellness. There is a new definition of wellness and travel wellness, which I actually created. I'm super proud. And it's no longer about, the health spa visits or trips, yoga retreats. This is considered a part of that wellness. What's really important is that travel wellness should have always been about minimizing anxiety, boosting the health and wellness of your attendees, your employees, your clients before, during, and after trip, and of course, your event. And it's travel wellness, it's about being ready, it's about preparing, it's about protecting through healthy habits, nutrition, self-care, youthfulness, and beauty. Yes, beauty too, especially for ladies, right? And many other things. It's about balancing and bringing out the best in your employees and your attendees. I don't know if you've heard that definition of travel wellness before, but that's the definition which I'm creating. It's totally different than what you've probably heard so far. Many people think about, oh, it's the wellness at my event. Oh, it's the wellness that people have a hand sanitizer, right? Well, it's more than that, because when we travel, I want to highlight it, it has nothing to do with COVID. When we travel, we get bloated, we are dehydrated, our skin is red, we get skin rash, we are feeling dizzy, we have a bad breath, we have stomach cramps, we have a lot of other symptoms we should not be having, because if we don't know how to travel in a healthy way, well, that's basically now it's getting, it's our fault, to be honest, because it's all about knowing how to do it, finding the information, learning how to do that. And if we know, I mean, many of you, I'm sure many of you traveled more than once in the past, especially all those guys, all of us who are planning events. We go to that event, months before the convention starts, right? We have to do a site visit. We need to talk to the hotel or the convention center. We need to understand what is it, everything from A to Z from the logistics standpoint, right? So we spent a few days in that hotel or in that convention center, organizing and preparing everything. And then think about, if you were tired when you went there, think about your attendees. How will they feel when they get there? And your job is to teach them, educate them, and tell them to get ready, to prepare. It's that awareness. And unfortunately, I've been talking about it, and I created those programs, travel wellness programs, way before COVID started. But we needed, unfortunately, something like COVID to be able to start paying attention to how we feel, how we look, how we perform during travel, before, during, and after travel. Because if we don't feel well, we cannot perform well. And it's not only about you guys as your event planner, as event planners, but also as attendees. Attendees cannot be focused. Attendees cannot participate if they don't feel great. If they had something on the plane, if they caught something, I don't know, a stomach bug or whatever on the way to the convention, trust me when I tell you, they will not feel well. That happened to me. I traveled, like there were situations I traveled once a week. I was exhausted. I was tired, exhausted. I couldn't focus. At one of those conferences, of course, yet another trip when I traveled, and I got sick on the way to the convention. I unfortunately, I arrived at 7 a.m, but my breakfast with clients and my training was around 8 a.m. So just an hour later. So you can only imagine my hotel room was never ready at 7 a.m, but I had to perform. I had to be my best. I had to look my best. And I did it. At that particular event, I did not feel my best at all. I was sick. I had a stomach problem. I needed to spend more time in the restroom than in the conference room, but my bosses didn't care. I needed to present. I needed to talk, entertain, and be with my clients. I was sick. I ended up presenting to 100 people without my makeup on. Can you imagine, when this kind of thing happens to you or someone who is your speaker or someone who is your attendee? Well, I don't wish that to anybody because I know how that feels. And I just don't want anyone to experience what I experience. Again, I presented to 100 people without the makeup on. For someone who is a busy female executive, it's super important to look and feel her best. And even, for male executives, of course. Okay, so let's talk about a few things that we need to do: analyzing, implementing, equipping, attracting, things that we need to do to be able to prepare our attendees. And how can you support them with this? All right, okay. So think about, like I already mentioned, making people feel good, making people feel their best. About your event, right? About your event before they make a decision when they go there, but also during your event and post-event, after the event. They want to have good memories. They want to blog about that. They want to share on social media, right? So think about where is the step one? How do you start? And I hope you are doing this, and I'm sure you do, and I hope you will do it even more. It's all about assessing how your attendees are feeling. It's the pre-form. Some of the travel organizations set up, not only travel organizations, I've seen, because I work with some other corporations that have, they are creating travel, but also events. And so I support them in those health and wellness efforts to get their attendees ready. And I have to tell you, the very first step is before we set up a date, we are looking at how comfortable our attendees are. One of the biggest, travel industry association now was supposed to have a conference in July. They moved it to November because they didn't, I'm assuming, or I don't know, they thought that they can do the conference, but their attendees didn't feel comfortable with that. So look, from July to November, almost at the end of November. So that's important that you actually understand and check with your attendees how ready they are. Your job is to tell them, give them all the information they need, but also first find out from them, are they ready? A lot of people and a lot of corporations are now starting to do hybrid events. Of course, they want to have as many people attending in person. Some people are very eager to travel. Some people are not. But even though we need to make sure that we can meet their needs, because even if we set up the date for an event and your attendees are not ready to do it, well, no one will show up, right? So I also want to talk about when you are looking, to survey your attendees, survey your employees. What are they looking for? You may, as the executive, feel comfortable and prepared. Your employees in your event division may not feel that way either. Talk about your stakeholders. Listen to their voice. They will tell you exactly what they need and how they need it. The same again with attendees. If you ask them, they will respond. They are the source of the information for you. And it's not only about, the question is not only about in your survey, hey, are you ready to travel? No. Use the message, the answers to their questions in a way that you can use it in your messaging. Use their language. Use the exact words that they are using, because then it means that you will really truly get to I don't say get to them, but really truly you will get their attention. So that's important. A lot of people, like I mentioned, they will have the fear of change. They will be like, what's new? There is a lot of unknown. Communicate the change, be open about it. This is important, that you tell them what's new, how is it new, what can they do about that. A lot of people will talk about obstacles, right? It's the limited budget, the lack of resources. The budget, wellness, when it comes to the budget, is not that expensive, actually. And I will be talking about it. It's about smart utilization of existing contracts and affordable new contracts with new suppliers, or like I said, smart utilization, optimization of existing supplier contracts. I'm sure you are working with a lot of suppliers. If those are suppliers who are not meeting your needs, look for new ones. It does not have to be expensive at all. Get your buy-in across from attendees, sponsors, HR, even your HR division, talk to them. A lot of people have a corporate security division. A lot of people have other divisions in their corporations. Talk to them, talk to the CFO, talk to the CEO, your managers. And again, when you are talking to the executive stakeholders, talk to your attendees and employees within your team, and with employees who will be attending that event also. So don't forget about that. Okay, I want to spend a few minutes talking about overcoming objections, because that's important, and a lot of people are still, like I said, hesitant, and a lot of people are just or feeling not ready. And you will hear many times, like, no one is traveling because of COVID. You will hear wellness is not a priority, right? You will hear about, I need to go to a conference, but I'm scared, I'm not ready, I'm not feeling ready. You will hear about, I have a family to think of. What if I get sick? What if they get sick? Now I have to take time off. A lot of people will tell you, I'm stressed out. And again, that you may hear it from your attendees, but you may also hear it from your own team members, right? So let me just address each and every one of those, because this is something definitely you will be using in your messaging. So when you hear about no one is traveling because of COVID, well, I have to tell you, yes, they are. People are traveling. I traveled personally quite a lot during COVID, spent a lot of time in Europe on business and vacation, and also I traveled within the US. I share it on my social media and my other presentations. So yes, I did travel, and people continue to travel. TSA actually is reporting that over 1 million people are traveling almost daily. And in the middle of March, there was a day, I don't remember the date exactly, but it was 1.5 million people during the day in the United States. It's a lot. People are traveling. Whether it's vacation, whether those are meetings, client meetings, or whatever it is, people are traveling. And this is even, before the vaccination became open and popular, and like I said, open to everyone, because in some states we still cannot have the vaccination for all of us, right? It's based on the age. So just think about that. Airlines are really spiking. The bookings are being made. And now people, like I said, they continue to travel. They are planning vacation, they are planning trips, and we see it every day. So if you hear about wellness not a priority, well, I have to tell you that as long as you put wellness at the core of your messaging, you will dispel that in this straight at the very beginning. And of course, the messaging is key, right? So you need to tell them what you are doing to ensure wellness, what you are doing to ensure health and wellness before the event, during the event, after the event. You have to tell them how you as an organization are getting them ready to travel. You have to tell them how the hotel or hotels they will be staying at, how are they getting ready their employees, and their employees, of course, who will be serving the convention or event attendees, but also how hotels are preparing themselves to welcome so many new visitors now and guests, right? You will need to tell them how the convention centers are getting ready, how many hand sanitizing stations are going to be there, where will be the hand sanitizing stations spread out, how will they get their meal served, right? If there will be served. There are new rules now, talking about that too. So it's a communication. Put that wellness up front there, so there is no mystery, there is no surprise, there is no other thing that may sort of get them in a way that they are not sure, or whatever it is that they may worry about. When it comes to, I need to go to a conference, but I'm scared, I don't know what to do. Just think about that. The best medicine for fear is actually information. So put relevant statistics, and information in every communication, like local transmission rates, vaccination rates, things, flights, how airlines are protecting their traveling guests. We know that during COVID, airlines kept one of the middle seat was actually blocked, right? So no one was able to do it, to book it. Now it's no longer the case. Airlines are actually selling that middle seat, but you have to tell your attendees, your employees about that, right? So they are ready. All this information is available on various websites. Give them access to that. Provide them with links. Um, Provide this information in your marketing materials, in your emails, in your intranet, in your extranet if you have one, right? Communicate to your clients and internal stakeholders. Think about if you have clients, if you have corporate clients to whom you want to actually create that, what you should do, you should start with presentations. Don't do email marketing first, but invite them to a webinar, live webinar. Show them what your plans are for that upcoming year when it comes to conferences, conventions, educations, training. Think about your corporate clients who are interested in, who are your partners and who wants to attend. Like I said, survey them, of course, but also create a series of webinars. When I work with corporations, I always talk about the fact that they have to, let's say, before they set up the date for the conference, they need to issue a survey. Then they start with webinars. It's the next really step when you think about that. So if they decide on a date, let's say it's in July and we are in the month of April, what they should do, the webinar should be now. And then another webinar, let's say, is in May, another one in June, then another one, 2 weeks or a week prior to the conference, because people will have questions. People will feel unsure. You are there not only to send an email, but you are there to support them, to be visible, and to give them that peace of mind so they can you can answer their questions that they can ask real time. It's super, super important to build that confidence and support them in the way that you are giving them that peace of mind and eliminating any fear and anxiety. Also, when you hear about, I have a family to think of, well, I have to tell you, everyone does, right? We all do. And remember that life events support hundreds, if not really thousands of workers with families just like us, right? When you think about that. And all of us, our job is to help them thrive. You need to, again, this is the one thing that you will hear about them. So this is one of the questions you need to address, right? Because they will say, hey, what if I get sick? What if my family gets sick? You will need to address the need and follow the CDC regulations, because now CDC is saying that if you are partially vaccinated, you are sort of treated as someone who has not been vaccinated. So you need to tell your employees, attendees about that, right? Because you will have to sort of create your own rules that follow the government mandates. So definitely something that they will need to something that will have to be addressed and also talked about at your webinar series, because I believe, when you create an annual convention, annual event, it's very important that people show up, even if you create a hybrid, but also that you communicate and you have that real time, real life communications, town halls, like I said, webinars or other things that you want, that gives them an opportunity to ask questions real time. Of course, the session should be recorded. The session that should be made available to future attendees and your clients. Also, when you think about people are stressed out, they have a lot of anxiety and so on. This is what's really good for it, is the information on wellness and how are we alleviating anxiety. Can not only help your attendees, but also your team members, your partners, and of course, it's you. And it's about the communication, it's about the wellness, it's about all the things that you do to support them, of course, in those efforts. So think about when you are getting ready, when you already spoke with them, when you surveyed them, when you already gave them all the information that they need. So when you have all the information when it comes to their needs, desires, and so on from those surveys. Many times I want to share that because many of those attendees will come up with a lot of things, right? Of course, I mean, that's expected. And one of the things that people ask for, again, based on my experience working with corporations and event planners and so on, every single company, whether they are traveling or not, whether they have traveling employees or not, whether there is an event convention or not, there should be a travel kit, travel wellness kit, or you name it in whatever way you want. And even when people are coming back to the offices, so they are ready, they are getting ready, there should be a travel or should be a wellness kit for your attendees, especially if you are, of course, organizing a conference, for your speakers, for your sponsors, for your team members. This is very important because not only it can be in a form of a checklist, it may be in a form on a really box that you can mail and ship to every single person. You know, when attendees are coming to your convention, people are traveling, they have to pay a fee, right? You may sort of feel off or think about increasing slightly that fee, or within the same fee, you know, create that kit. If you send them something home, I'm pretty sure they will appreciate that. It's not only about the training materials, but think how much time you can save when they are checking in. Many conventions, corporations are actually sending those travel kits, which not only include information or tools or things like hand sanitizer or face mask, but also marketing materials from your sponsors, or the training booklets or other notebooks. It's an opportunity, that box is an opportunity to not only provide with the wellness kit and tools, like I said, hand sanitizers, but also saves you a lot of time and energy during the check-in process, because you can send them the badges straight away in that box. But also, you know, you don't have to create additional materials, because this is also an opportunity for your sponsors to shine, because they can put information in that box, so you can combine it and mail it, ship it it saves you time also and money when you think about shipping all the marketing materials to the event, to the convention. So think about it. Or you can invite your suppliers or sponsors to ship that information to attendees. That saves a lot of time to everybody. And like I said, money and also energy, carrying all this heavy stuff, the paper and other things, right? So this is some of the things that you should definitely consider. What else? What do they need? Meals. Meals are important, right? Because everywhere, wherever we are, we have to keep our face covering masks on, right? The only time which we don't need to do it is actually when we consume meals. And whether we travel, whether we go to the business lunch, whether we are on the plane or somewhere else, you know, we are allowed to remove those face covering masks. Actually, there are some states like Texas which actually doesn't mandate to anyone to wear masks. So you have to check with the local, of course, authorities and local rules. But your employees, of course, too, but also attendees will be curious about meals. How will they be served? Is a buffet still available? Right? I mean, business lunches are eliminating buffets. Everything is wrapped. You cannot just, get a cookie by yourself, right? Will the coffee and tea be served? How will they do it? All of this information you need to find out and learn about from your convention centers, from the hotels, from the conference rooms, because this is important. Will this be served? You may even decide not to serve those meals. And if you do, you may create a box again. So instead of having a buffet, you may have a box where they will have a sandwich, I don't know, a drink or something else. And everyone will receive a box for that as a lunch. So different things, there are different options which you may come up with the cooperation of your whether it's a convention center or a hotel or other thing that you are organizing your conference, or even if you have your conference in-house within your own office building, right? So think about that. Another thing which is important, people need to know about the contamination zones. I talk about that contamination zones quite a lot. And when you think about that, you may think like, oh, what are they? I have to tell you, it's what's important is that you have that you show them the contamination zones the moment they leave the house. So it's not only, in when they get to the convention center or to the hotel, but the moment they leave the house, you want them to be protected and safe. So when they get to Uber or taxi, when they get on the train to the convention, when they even drive, when they take a metro, right? So think about the contamination zones the moment they leave the house. Then, of course, on the plane, on the train, at the airport, in the business lounge, different things. You need to educate them so that they are aware and they know how to protect themselves. And your travel wellness kit or a conference wellness kit, however you want to call it, should provide this kind of a leaflet talking about the contamination zones, what to avoid, how to get ready, what to create, and what information to pack or things to pack, right? So this information will be important, but also how to protect yourself the moment you leave the house. So again, it's not only about, oh, they go to the convention. You want them to be healthy and productive the entire time, the moment they leave the house. And that's our job, to help them and educate them about this. And of course, we were talking about anxiety in your messaging and addressing it in a direct way, anxiety, stress, and other things. And keep that should be on the front of the messaging along with the wellness. And you just be straightforward with that. We know that you may feel overwhelmed. We know that you may feel anxious. We know that you may feel stressed out. But, we are here to support you. We are here to make sure that you have everything you need, that you are ready. That's why we created the messaging. That's why we have town halls. That's why we have a travel wellness kit. That's why we have all the information that saves you time and energy, and that eliminates any contamination. So you don't have to come and say, touch us or whatever. We will not give you the ID. You don't have to check in, because all of this will be delivered to you by mail. So it saves you a lot of time. All you need to do is come, show up, and attend our conference and tell us how it was for you, right? What was your experience? And the last one here, but not least, of course, be ready for signs of exhaustion and stress, not only on your team, but also, of course, your attendees. Pay attention to it. When it comes to stress and anxiety, we just don't have the total control over every touch point, right? When you think about that, which you have with your attendees, really truly make sure that every person who communicates with potential attendees is feeling good. So all your team members who are talking to attendees, right? They are feeling good about the event. They're empowered. They feel confident. When you think about that, you may be in charge of it and you may feel ready, prepared, and you may feel that your employees, team members are feeling ready and prepared. But if she had or he had a bad day, she's not or he is not in a good mood, she may say, she may give you bad publicity and scare attendees even more. So one bad sales really truly can, or bad customer service, when you think about that, can ruin months of your hard work and your careful marketing, right? It can ruin this messaging that you tried, for so long to put together. So you need to have not only that you are talking, you have town halls with your attendees, you have to have a conversation with your team members. You need to speak the same language. You need to speak from the same sheet of music. You need to speak the same talking points. I see a lot of corporations, what they do, they have sessions, more than one get ready session, readiness session to that event, which are very internal and are very important. They even put together a booklet, like a training, like not only about, what is it all about the conference, what time it starts, where it ends, all the agenda items, but also how to communicate, FAQs, what to talk about, talking points and other things. So this is important, that you create a kind of a cheat sheet or a booklet or however you call this notebook for your employees and so on, and everybody who is supporting that event. Because, like I said, one person not feeling great, may ruin this whole months of work effort that you put into that organization and the event. So think about it, create a script, think about other things that you can do to support that. Well, the last thing I really want to talk about is just I always have an offer for attendees, because I want to empower you and give you something that you can think of and sort of take home. And this one is very inexpensive. The value is $1,000 for just $99. And actually, there is more when you think about it, because I have one other bonus for you. So the value would be really $2,000 for a price of $99, which will definitely start to get you ready. There is a video guide on building confidence internally for your live or hybrid events, right? So it's about talking about the power of confident communications. It talks about how important it is that ensures that your company moves forward with buy-in from every dimension of your company, from the marketing department to customer service to HR and many others, right? And within this package, we also provide an email script for the perfect invitation, the talking points that should be included, things that should be addressed in the right way, right? We're also providing information about presenting your credentials, which is key to credibility. Do you remember, like I mentioned, the fact I was on TV? I'm a vet. I'm the person who has been vetted. Not, if the TV stations can vet me, because I cannot show up on the TV, whatever news channel, etc., without being vetted by the TV stations. They understand who I am, what I represent, who I support, how I support. They know. So if you are supported by someone like me in your efforts, this is definitely something that it's so much easier to present and sort of sell internally and externally. So think about those credentials. And if you position yourself as a company that is working with an expert such as myself, then it's so much easier and faster to actually get to what you really want to do and communicate with your clients. What else? How to create the perfect travel toolkit that you can get your attendees excited about and going to your event. And of course, how to survey, a survey template, what questions to ask to be able to meaningfully, not only address the concerns, but also give them the sort of freedom of speech, right? Give them the information and provide them with an opportunity to tell them what they really need. And this is my bonus for you. Like I said, the value is $99. The value is $2,000, but it's really you are paying $99. This is the business travel readiness kit for all your internal employees. Even you can use it for your clients. When you think about that, how to get ready to travel. It's about 5 powerful steps, strategies to get your employees and the company travel ready. What do you need to do? There are a lot of bonuses here too. You get templates that you don't have to use or create, because you can utilize what I provide. It's the strategies from the understanding what their employees' needs are, to negotiating contracts with suppliers, optimizing your existing supplier contracts, which is very important, of course, looking for new suppliers, identifying those suppliers. It's about getting ready, the communication for your employees and other things that they need to be able to feel confident and travel and be ready when it comes to their own health and safety. And of course, smart packing checklist, guide to contamination zones. This is huge. This is one of the things which I talked about when I said they need to be aware. When I said they, it means your attendees, but you know what? Also your employees. You need to be aware. What are the contamination zones before you leave, even before you leave the house? So I will be sending, a thank you email and the recording to the session. And of course, I will be sending a link to that online tool that, you know, should you wish to, you can, of course, purchase it directly. Well, that concludes my presentation. You can take a look at my website, sachalglobal.com, and also my email address if you have any questions, if there is anything, any way I can support you. You know, I do a lot of trainings. I work with corporations. I work with consulting firms, consulting companies. I work with a lot of even individual people, and so on. So I'm always happy to support you. I want to ask if there are any questions anybody would like to ask a question. Now is the time. All right, I see a question. All right, the question is, how do we get started? So how do we get started? The first thing is, I always ask to email me directly so we can schedule, I call this a discovery call. It's a free of charge call. We spend an hour talking on needs and goals, because it's important to understand what the goals are, whether it's an event you are planning, whether it's a wellness or a travel wellness session for your employees, or travel wellness, or even wellness program for your corporation. So we start with the needs, and then we look at the plans and how to do it and what to do together, and see if there are ways that I can support organizations. Okay, I see another question, which is, how much does it cost? The cost is determined based on the needs and the programs and things that a particular corporation or client is interested in. This is really very highly customized. And again, I don't do one solution fits all, because that's not how that works, right? I mean, solutions have to be customized and provided to in a way that they meet your needs. So the prices vary and so on. There are companies that I just do a training for their employees, one-off training, which is relatively inexpensive. There are companies that they want a program, a project plan, sort of speak program, and then they implement the program by themselves. There are companies that are looking for full support, where they want the so-called program outlines and strategies, but also the program implementations. I also work with corporations who are who have corporate clients, right? Who are consulting firms. I do a lot of that. So what I do training, webinars for their clients, so for the corporate clients. So I am a part of that. They can treat me as a guest speaker. They can treat me as an expert, but I do that kind of training, education as well. Sometimes they treat me as an extension of their sales team. You know, if they want to, many people want to win a contract or something, they have RFPs. I also provide with support in that area as well. So, all right, I think this is it. I would like to thank everyone. I hope you find this information helpful, and I hope to see you soon. And of course, I will send that presentation to everyone. So have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you so much.